All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to It's going to be a banger of an episode today, and we've got a special guest. If you guys seen our social media posting, we have Adit here, and then we've got Joshua as our usual co-host, and it's me, Brendan, your host today. And before we begin, how about we do a brief introduction for Adit? Yeah, so for Adit, he's our good friend. We play FPL. We are in our group chat. We talk about football every day. And he's got his own socials on. He streams on Twitch as well. He's on quite active on the social media pages. So his links are on the in the description. Yeah, so do check him out. I will definitely plug him in again later. Because there'll be more viewers, I will assume later on. So thank you so much for people tuning in right now at the start of the show. With that, Adit, will you say a word or two for everyone in the stream?
Thank you, Brendan, for the kind introduction. I hope we have a good stream with some interesting predictions today for the World Cup that's starting very soon. And yeah, ready to see what we all predict.
Sweet. All right, so we have some very interesting topics today. It won't be so much graphics today, but then we'll just go through like our picks for here and there, some key topics, some key countries to look out for. So without further ado, let me bring it to my co-host Joshua. How are you today, mate?
Feeling good. We had a wonderful time yesterday at the Singapore Cup final. It was great scenes, great attendance. I think almost 3,000 people went.
Yes.
And of course, it was a great game of football. Full-time 3-2, Krajcek hat-trick, brilliant hat-trick. And today the attention shifts to the international football. So we start with the World Cup, and probably next month we'll be talking a bit about the Mitsubishi Cup.
Yes, so we are looking forward. We're going to do more World Cup content on your way. And then also we're going to, like what Joshua said, we're going to do a Mitsubishi Cup. Maybe, I was actually thinking maybe going to Malaysia to watch. And we're still on the cards, maybe we look at that. And then before we begin our show, let's go through some of the comments. Thank you everyone for tuning into the comments. So FPL Matt Day has said, have a great podcast. FPL Matt Day, I think I've repeated a few times. He's a brilliant Australian FPL channel. Do check him out. He does live streams every week. Every alternate day, he always does his streams and whatnot. Fantastic. On to the ball says, let's go. A Liverpool fan from UK. Brilliant. He's also a fantastic supporter of the show. Thanks for the comments. I did with a thumbs down because he's a Manchester United fan. Coach's Corner, he's put the bang, the explosion. He's a Chelsea fan from South Africa. Thank you for tuning in. And then Football Ferreira, we got our good
brother,
friend,
our good
brother Football Ferreira. He's a Portuguese living in Brighton. Huge part of the reason why we are doing live streams, because he's been a very good inspiration for us and a brilliant friend. So thank you so much for the comments. Sailor Fan Talk has said, loading up the popcorn. So loading up the popcorn. Thanks for tuning in, Sailor Fan Talk. Eddie, appreciate it. Thanks for yesterday. It was great fun with watching the game with you. And then his next comment is, waiting for this to start. Singapore's going to win the World Cup. Maybe not in our lifetime, but yeah, they may win, but not in our lifetime for sure. So thanks for the comment. Ignatius said, fire. Well, for Ignatius, there was a surprise for you, but I couldn't get it in time. So just to let you know, heads up, definitely it's a bit sad for the surprise. But
I mean, if Brazil make the final, maybe the surprise will come in then.
Maybe, yeah. Okay, and then before the last comment, we got Shami saying, my boy. Thanks for tuning in, Shami. All right, so without further ado, let's begin the show. So first off, I just want to quickly say that we appreciate the love and support thus far for the vlogs and for the many people tuning in and giving their kind words and feedback. Thank you very much. Okay, so without further ado, let's crack on. So for our first topic today, guys, right? So let's break it down. Countries to look out for this World Cup. All right, so the World Cup is going to start tonight, actually. Qatar versus Ecuador. Later, we'll give like our predictions at the end of the show. So let me give the floor to Adit first. So what are maybe 2 or 3 countries to look out for in your opinion?
For me, which is one of the shocks, is going to be Morocco. I feel they have a very good defense. And when they were qualifying, in the last 13 games this year, they had 8 wins, 0, and only, I think, 2 losses. And they scored 22 goals. So they're pretty strong. They're not a team that just everyone will roll past. Then USA, I think people are just overlooking USA. I know Gareth Bale is there, but I think USA have a very strong midfield and a pretty decent defense. So don't just overlook them. Yeah, yep. Those are my 2 teams. And Serbia, everyone knows that's my dark horse team.
Okay, so dark horse later we'll definitely talk about that. But okay, thank you for your pick. So it's US and Morocco. All right, so two interesting countries that we may debate later. And for Joshua, what are the maybe two countries that you can look out for in this World Cup?
I didn't really prepare that much for this segment, but
sure.
I'm not going to say Japan or Serbia and all this because I do think they're going to make it far. But, teams that I think you could look out for is a team that's playing tonight, actually. And it's not the host, it's Ecuador. I look at their form and I don't see why they can't make it out of the group. I think it's going to be very tight between Ecuador, Qatar, and Senegal to get through. And, I think Ecuador is one to watch out for if they do get through. It's a unknown commodity and they could surprise. And another team that I'm backing to go far is a team in USA's group. You talk about Gareth Bale. I think Wales have a decent shot. They were very, very impressive in the Euros, I felt. They had a couple of decent results. And, I love the spirit in the squad, the strength, the character. And, who knows, they might even make it further than England.
Are you mental? All right. So this is really getting a bit spicy right now. Yeah. So Wales and Group A, which is Ecuador, right? There's your two countries to look up for. Okay. So for me, I'll give my two countries. I think you can look out for Korea. I know people are pegging Uruguay and Portugal to be automatic because Uruguay has a really strong squad, as long as with Portugal. But I believe that Korea can make not really a dark horse. If they can get out of the group stage, Asian pride, got to support our Asian pride. I think this could be potentially a World Cup that they can look out for. And then just a quick pointer, Adit, we were all talking in the chat, right? We were saying about how the humidity could play a big part in this World Cup, yeah? So, Asian countries may have the benefit. And another country to look out for, I would say Iran. Iran also is looking really good under, Adit's favorite team, Carlos Queiroz management. They've been doing really well. So Iran could be a dark horse because that group, England's group, can be really hit and miss, It can be US, it really can be Iran, and even what Joshua said, Wales, his pick. So don't discount that. Okay, so Adit, do you want to share anything with what we've said so far?
I think very interesting picks, and I love how all our picks have at least one team from one exact group, which is surprising. I would have thought it would be covered all over all groups, but one group having and three of us having different teams is quite interesting. So
yeah, I mean, definitely agree. It's very strange because we talk about how Group A can go either way, like Ecuador, Qatar, and Senegal. I think it's very similar to England's group. Everyone is thinking, England is going to be the shoe-in to finish first. But, I think it's very even between US, Wales, and Iran, right?
Iran.
Of course, I'm backing Wales to go through. Seems like he seems to be backing Iran and US. Like, I do agree with you that US have some very good players that have broken out in recent seasons.
Yeah.
Like we see them playing in the Premier League. So like Aronson. Yeah, Tyler Adams, and then even Bundesliga, Syria, they're broken up pretty well.
All right. So thanks for So Adit, anything before we move on, Adit?
Nothing else.
Nothing else. Fantastic. Okay, so those are the few countries to look out for if they can get it out of the group stages. I think it's not really a dark horse. I think we are saying these are more like surprises that not the usual big countries that could make. These are the smaller, lesser countries that could make noise in the World Cup. Okay, so we've got a comment before we move on. He says, Radio Daydream. KY says Majula.
The last time he tuned in, it was a very eventful period for him. He was in Korea and all this, and we threw a bit of a joke at him. So it's good that he's not taken too much offense and he's joined back.
Fantastic, KY. Another close friend of the show. I'm sure Adit, we've always chat with him about football. Thanks for tuning in, Radio Daydream, KY. Okay, so now our next topping point, right, will be key discussion points. Okay, so I will moderate this segment. Yeah, so I'll just give you some general topics. Just give your input or what you guys think of this bigger the favorites. What they may potentially do. How do you think that their form going into this World Cup? Do you think they're going to be favorites? Do you think maybe they'll falter a bit going on to the later stages of the group stages of the World Cup? Okay, so let's begin. So the first one, let's start off with the defending champions, France. All right, so defending champions France. Before I give the floor to Adit and Joshua, I just want to give my piece about this. To me, it's a World Cup curse. I think this could potentially be really unfortunate for France. I support France, actually. I'm a big France and Germany fan. And I think the World Cup curse is real and alive, and I believe that France could be knocked out. And maybe you'll see my bracket later, maybe in the round of 16 potentially. So we'll see how that goes. So maybe I'll pass the floor over to Adit first. What are your thoughts about the defending champions France?
I had a lot more hope before all these injuries came, because looking at the midfield, it is quite light, and there's no one to really break the defense like how Pogba used to do it. He was so good. And I thought Nkunku, with the form he's in, would have been that perfect player. But now I think Griezmann, since he's a favorite of Deschamps, will have to play a bit further back, playing that number 10 role, and he hasn't been that prolific in the last for the last 1 year. So it's going to be very interesting, because if they can't break the defense and their midfield is a bit weak, even though they have good players, it just seems so weak compared to last year. Even though it's just missing one or two players, it makes a huge difference. So
Absolutely.
I have them making the finals, and this was before all these injuries came about. I still will back them with the quality that they have, and Mbappe in great form. I back him. I really hope France is my team, but I still think they won't win it. They have a very good squad, talent-wise, but talent doesn't always take you
Equate to
success.
the, yeah, of course, exactly. Good points there, Adi. Good points. Joshua, how about your takes about the defending champions, France?
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of teams, I think they're one of the teams in transition at the moment. So we do see a lot of mix of young players as well as experienced pros. So we see the likes of Chumani as well as Kamavinga coming in.
Yeah.
Probably going to start midfield. Maybe one of them with Rabiot. We'll see. I mean, in the coming week. And then most probably going to see the same front three as the previous World Cup.
Yes.
Mbappe, Griezmann, and Giroud. I mean, Deschamps likes this front three. But, they've changed the formation over the years. The last World Cup, they played something like a
hybrid 4-3. Yeah. I mean, they usually play like 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, the usual.
But now, like a lot of teams are going with
three-man
three at the back, probably. So I do think they have a lot of quality defenders. We talked about it. They've called the likes of Kunde in the squad.
Yes.
Kunde, Konate, Upamecano, Saliba has been in great form for Arsenal. So, I mean, their defense is strong, but, it's whether they have enough creativity and finishing power to pull it off. So I agree with Adit, Nkunku and Benzema, definitely a big loss for them in the week coming up to the World Cup.
A huge loss for France. The fact that Benzema, just yesterday only, right? Or the early mornings today, that he was announced that he's going to be not playing in this World Cup. Very unfortunate for France, the current Ballon d'Or winner, yeah. And then also Nkunku out also with an injury from training. So France is getting a bit of the injury bug. So as I said earlier on, it's the curse, the World Cup curse. I mean, it's slowly implementing into the France squad, As much as I love them, I think this is going to be a bit difficult to overcome. And like what Adit and Joshua rightly pointed out, I think the midfield, I would say maybe, I won't say that Chumani and Kamavinga are bad players. Of course, they are talented young players on the rise, but they've not really played so much together in Real Madrid, So it's that chemistry issue that people will assume that, they're playing the same squad. So it's like, okay, but it's like what Adit said, talent, it doesn't really equate to success. And chemistry is very important in for, any nation. And also Giroud leading the line, a 36-year-old. Can he, he's doing quite well for Milan this year. So, maybe he can fire them to the later stages. So, anything else before I move on to the next point?
Nope. You can move on, yeah.
All good. Okay. So before I move on, let's go with the comments. We got two new comments. Marcus Lam said, Japan is a team to look out for. Yes, Marcus, you are a fantastic. Is it a Salah picture on his profile? It is, right?
Yep.
Mo Salah. I mean, I would say that your Japan comment is good, but your profile picture is not that nice. Just banter, yeah. I'm an Arsenal fan. But I think Joshua will love it. Yeah. And then next comment, Ignatius has come back and said, let's go Germany. So we'll be addressing Germany soon, right? So, tune in for that. Ignatius, thanks for tuning in. Okay, so the next country we're going to look out for, we're going to talk about, it's a favorite, I would say. The next two countries are going to be big favorites in this World Cup, which is the South American giants, Argentina, firstly. So Argentina is in hot form. It's widely known that they've won 30. They've not lost 35 games, and then potentially 3 more games to equal. I think to Italy's beat, or to beat.
If I'm wrong, to beat.
Yeah. So 2 more games to equal the record, and then 3 games to beat Italy's record. So I think it's looking good for them. Their group is not the strongest, I would say. So we'll see how that goes. And then so let me start off again. So Argentina. If you see my bracket later, I pegged them as one of my favorites. I think they're going to make a very deep run. They've got, what has troubled Argentina in the past, it's always been their defense. So I think this year their defense has shot up immensely the past 2 years. Now with the likes of Romero, you got your veteran Otamendi probably on the bench, and then you got Adit's, I would assume, one of his favorite players, Lisandro Martinez. So it's going to be the butcher himself. So Argentina's midfield also is really strong. They've got the underrated Guaido Rodriguez from Betis as well, and then you've got a good strike. Argentina's strike force always lethal. Yeah. So with that being said, I'll pass the time to Joshua first. Right. So what are your thoughts about Argentina?
Well, they might very well be unbeaten throughout the World Cup, but they may lose on penalties to Netherlands if they face each other in the round 16 or quarterfinals. If they both top the group, I think.
For Netherlands, right?
Probably quarterfinals. Right? So yeah, I mean, they're a hard team to beat. They've shown it. They beat Italy 3-0 recently, and they've got a very good first 11. But my worry for them is, what if one of their key players get injured? Talk about attacking options. What if Lautaro Martinez picks up injury in the first or second game? Do they have enough? Di Maria hasn't really had a very strong season this season at Juventus. And then will Julian Alvarez be able to step up? So that's a concern. Messi getting on age, his influence on the team is undoubted. But what if he picks up injury?
Yep.
So, I mean, it's all these concerns. While I think their first 11 is really strong and they are very hard to beat, I don't know. Favorites, but all it takes sometimes is just one injury. And
very fair. Yeah. Very fair. All right. So Adit, what are your thoughts about Argentina?
See, that 35 unbeaten streak, I have a bit of a problem with that, because if you really see the teams that they face, weren't the strongest teams. They have Honduras and all these teams, and everyone gives Ronaldo a lot of problems about how he scores and beats only the smaller teams, which Messi is doing the exact same. So for me, the 35, if you really take the strong teams, will really cut down to like 18 or 19 strong teams. But they're very strong. I can't lie, they are a favorite. One of my favorites. I have them going to quite deep into the tournament. And I think, like Joshua rightly said, if they pick up an injury, they might struggle like Liverpool, because their first 11 is extremely strong. But when it comes to the subs bench, there's so much that's lacking there, and I haven't analyzed Argentina's squad too intently, but it's just that first 11 that's extremely strong. And like how Brandon said, if they get just one injury, it could ruin everything. And Dybala, even if he's coming off the bench, he's coming off an injury, so that could be detrimental to them. Julian Alvarez, he's started well for Man City, but this is a completely different ball game. World Cup, anything can happen.
For sure. Yeah. Okay. Good points from the both of you. So I just want to say that before we move on to the next country, is the fact that I think I agree with both of you. Like, the front 11 is always the first 11, and of course the form that they are in. Of course, people peg them as their favorites, right? But like what you guys say, injury or two could really mess up the chemistry, and potentially never know what may happen in the World Cup, because Messi is they're doing this for Messi, I would assume, right? Because he's probably going to retire soon, and this is his last World Cup, so morale will be all-time high. But like what Joshua said, if he picks up injury, yes, they are loaded at the front, but sometimes a generational talent like Messi, you need him on the pitch. He takes away a lot of form, distracting the opponents with their strategies and whatnot.
Yeah, I think one thing to point out is in recent times they've also gotten the better of Brazil. So if it comes down to that, I can see them actually beating Brazil, but the problem is getting there in the first place.
Yeah. Adit, anything before we move on?
Nothing else.
Nothing. Fantastic. All right. So again, I'm going to read through some of the comments when we were going through this segment. Let's see now. So Marcus said Liverpool Fab. Yeah, fantastic. Joshua loves your comment.
We're going to see Fabinho at the World Cup.
Fabinho. Okay. You think he's going to start over Casemiro? What do you guys think?
I think they'll rotate.
Rotate?
I think they'll rotate.
Probably Casemiro is the favorite. Yeah? You think, Adit? What do you think, Casemiro or Fabinho?
Casemiro has to be the favorite, because they've always, like I've said before, the teams won't change their setup so late into the World just before the World Cup. You change something, it can be detrimental. So I don't think anything will change, and Casemiro will be that.
Fair, very fair. All right, so Rohit has joined the stream. He says, Adit! Hello, Adit! Do you want to say hi to Rohit?
Hello, Rohit. How are you, bro?
All right, Brad. No, cheers. Thanks for. And then JC made it. All right, JC, of course, a constant figure in the goal
Yeah,
difference.
waiting for you to make it for lunch or one of these that you say you're constantly going to join.
Terrible, Rohit. Come on, you gotta up the presence. Join us. But Rohit is a great friend of ours of the show as well. Let's see another cop. Fachi say, I saw y'all yesterday, but y'all were doing an interview with the guy for the tote bag. Oh, cheers. Sorry. Thanks for not interrupting. But also in the meantime, definitely next year or Mitsubishi Cup, we do see you. If you do see us, please feel free to drop and say hi. And we'd love to meet you. Thanks. I'm sure you'll be happy. I remember you were rooting for Hougang win, so up the Wolves. Lucas says big Arsenal fan. Thank you so much for tuning in. And then Hougang Hools, Rohit said. I hope Rohit you're going to come for a local game soon. And then Rohit says, "Oh damn, comparing Liverpool to Argentina." So Adit, what are your thoughts of comparing those two?
I feel it's a fair comparison because both have outstanding first 11s. You can't argue with that. But when it comes to the subs bench, you're really hoping for more, and it's not very inspirational looking at that bench.
Yeah. Fair. All right. So the next comment we have, comparing to the holes. Rohit says Brazil's depth over Argentina. I think that is very fair. I think we all can agree with Rohit's point here. I think their depth for Brazil is. I think not even Argentina. I think the whole World Cup their depth is immense.
Yeah, I mean it's like comparing Liverpool to Man City, Brazil and Argentina, but in the end, who wins more?
Oh, okay. Wow. Joshua with the twists and turns.
Well,
with
I
this
mean,
analogy.
Premier League terms it's City, but
in history,
Liverpool have done it in the Champions League in recent times.
Yeah, and Champions League is more relatable because it's a cup competition. Yeah, the league is 38 weeks. Sometimes you win, you lose some, but cup competition. All right, so Marcus said my prediction will be Brazil to win the World Cup. So like what Adit is wearing right now, Brazil is gonna win it. He thinks. Thanks, Marcus, for your prediction. Cheers for tuning in. We appreciate it. And then Sailor's Fan Talk has come in and said, if Brazil doesn't go far, what do you think is most likely to trip them up? That's a fantastic question. So before we answer that question, right, we will get back to this question. We are actually going to go on to Brazil. So it's a good segue, right? So let's go on to the next segment, which is Brazil. Are they favorites? Because like what Rohit said, their depth is insane, right? I'm sure all you football fans have seen the lineups. It's like literally they can fill every position. They could fill a first team player. Yeah. And then we'll address Eddie's Sailors Fan Talks question later. But maybe I just start off quickly. Brazil, favorites? I think they are. But like what Joshua rightly pointed out just now, if Argentina meets Brazil, I think Argentina will beat them. Which, if my bracket, if you see later, I think they may possibly meet in the semifinals. So a potential big clash for the South American countries. So this time, I will start off with Adit, right? So Adit, what do you think of Brazil's chances in this World Cup?
As you can see, I'm supporting Brazil for this World Cup. I think the chances are fantastic. One, because of the form that all their players are in. I know the defense is the thing that I'm really not sure about because their defense is pretty old. I can't lie. If you have Thiago Silva, Danilo, Dani Alves, Alexandro is not too old, but still
getting up there.
With the talent that they have, they should be having youngsters that can do the same job. So the defense, even though they have class players, I'm very unsure about it. But the rest of the team, I feel it's just a
Insane.
fantastic team. And if they have to call on the bench, they have fantastic players on the bench too.
Yep, so, yeah. Fantastic. All right, thanks, Adit. So Joshua, what are your thoughts about Brazil?
Yeah, I think I've mentioned it before. What I feel is lacking about them is their fullbacks. So I think Adit pointed out as well, Alexandro, Danilo, Dani Alves, and Alex Telles. I mean, if they face the likes of Kaoru Mitoma is going to skin them alive. Or even so, maybe players like Mbappe and, the game now is a lot about the wingers and can they cope with these wingers? So that is one thing I feel is going to trip them up. Another thing is maybe finishing. If they had brought Roberto Firmino, that would not be a problem at all. But, without Firmino, do they have the forward to get them the goals?
Excuse me, you got Gabriel Jesus, who's been in not so good form. He's not been scoring goals, but he's been instrumental in linking up play. And then you've got Richarlison coming back from injury, who has not really shown much ever since he came back from the injury. But, over Firmino.
Well, I mean, it's goals that wins games, not linking up the play, at the end of the day.
True.
So, I mean... yeah, we'll see. So that's the two things I feel that they have to be concerned about. But, the talent is there, especially on the wings. And then you have Neymar, who might play as a number 10, given the amount of wingers they have.
Yeah. Adit, anything before I close with this Brazil segment?
I have a feeling they might play Neymar up top because they like for the last few matches they've been playing Paqueta. So I think Paqueta might play not a number 10, but it's like he'll play. But the problem is, will you drop Vinny to play him on the left, which I doubt. In the form
No.
Vinny is in, he's undroppable. Rafinha will play also, I feel. So they might play Neymar up top, and he's lethal when it comes to cup competitions.
Yes. So yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with both of you. I think Firmino missing out is one of the biggest snubs in the World Cup. To Adit's point, I think defense-wise they are getting up in age. The stalwarts, like Dani Alves, Thiago Silva. So, but they got young talent. Eder Militao. They've got Marquinhos. Is also not very young. He's he's like what 31, maybe 30.
Gabriel missing out.
Gabriel missing out. Yeah, Gabriel missing out. And then the likes of Brazil, maybe the pressure could be mounting on them because they've got a stacked squad. But before I move on, I got to say that Neymar has always performed for Brazil in the World Cup. So this, he can potentially, it's what the past few World Cups, what has let him down in his team. Sorry. So, but individually he's done really well in the World Cup. This is his competition to shine. If ever a time is needed, Neymar is needed to be counted on for Brazil. All right, so let me move on to some of the comments before we move on. Sailor Fan Talk, I think we addressed this issue. So Joshua said that potentially strike goals will be the issue for them.
And their fullbacks. I think fullbacks more so. I was kidding about the striking part for the most part, but it could be something to look out for.
Yeah, fullbacks. And then Adit also said I would say will you agree, Adit, that the fullbacks and also the aging defense could be potentially an issue going deeper into the run?
Yeah, I think that because, and also the conditions of Qatar, I wonder how will that affect the older players because it'll take much more of a toll on them. So it'll be very interesting. But I think their defense, because of how old they are, might play against them.
Fantastic. Great points from both of you. Great points. I hope that I'm moderating well. I think, that's why we brought Adit on today. He's a really good, he's got great knowledge of football. And no, I'm not saying that we are the best, but we give our takes. We hopefully you guys enjoy it. And then Rohit says, when is the soundtrack coming in? Sorry to spoil the party, Rohit. I didn't get it planned. I didn't get it planned. I didn't get it ready because there are some issues with the setup. Definitely next time. Cheers. And Fachi said Brazil will face Portugal in the final and Portugal will win in penalties. Okay, stay tuned for the bracket. You can see what is potentially be our picks for whether Portugal may win. And then Fachi says, or maybe Neymar will save Brazil in penalties. Yeah, I think Neymar will be a huge factor for Brazil. Thanks for the comment. Ashwin, good friend, says England duck horses to win the World Cup. Ashwin, get out of here. They're never duck horses. Thank you very much for the comment, but get out of here. I'm just kidding. Thanks, Ashwin. Thanks for joining.
Happy birthday.
Oh, yes. Happy birthday, Ashwin.
Happy
Cheers.
birthday.
Happy birthday. Ashwin's birthday today. So if you guys are in the stream, please wish Ashwin a good happy birthday for him. Yeah. And then Rohit says Brazil and Argentina should meet in the semis, but I feel Argentina midfield falls short compared to Brazil. Yes, I think this goes about the depth issue, and also Argentina's midfield is not saying very well known, right? They've got Paredes and Rodriguez, which is maybe world football may not really digest into their game very well, but form and potentially the what do I want to call it, the pressure of the World Cup. You never know. Any team can take it on the given day. Thanks, Rohit, for the comment. Sailor Fantalk agrees with Joshua and Adit. Fullback issues for Brazil. There could potentially be their Achilles heel in the Brazil lineup. Fatris says, let me join the podcast. Thank you, Fatris. We definitely may, do email me or do DM me on Instagram. Then we can definitely talk about our collaboration in the future. Right? Thanks for tuning in as always. We appreciate the love and support. Sailor Fantasy says, happy birthday, Ashwin. Thank you. And Rohit says, happy birthday, Chindian King. A quick one. Are you coming for LCS Dortmund? Yes, we are. Joshua and I are going for Dortmund and LCS. Adit, are you going for the game?
Yes, I bought my tickets long ago. So I'm
sweet. So all three of us will be going for the game. So we'll hope to see you there, Fatris. Probably, I'll probably do the goal difference will do a vlog. So if you see us there, please feel free to say hi. Okay, so we move on. Quick. So we move on to the next topic, which is Germany. Oh, I spelled German wrong. Oops. Let me hide it. Let's go to let's talk about the overhyped Three Lions. Whoopsie daisy. We have our days, we have our moments. Yeah. So let's talk about England first before we move on to Germany. Yeah. So England, like what Ashwin said, are they the dark horses to win the World Cup? Maybe I'll pass the time to Joshua first.
Well, I mean, if you look at the last World Cup, they were semi-finalists, right? Lost to Croatia, and Euros, they were finalists, and they lost to Italy. So I do think they might be one of the favorites, given that there's a bit of continuity in it, that Southgate has continued as manager.
Yep.
No matter what you say, he still reached a semi-final of the World Cup as well as a final of the Euros. So he has that continuity. He's brought a lot of his favorite players. So there's pressure on him, leaving some of the bigger names are players who have performed like Tony. And then, he's stuck with his guns. And I don't think they're necessarily overhyped. I think they'll still do relatively well. But it's just whether they can, take the pressure at the end of the day.
Fair, very fair. All right, Adit, what are your thoughts about the Three Lions?
I wouldn't say they're dark horses. They're a very strong team, and it's like saying Netherlands is a dark horse. They're not. They're a very strong team and a very established team. So it would be unfair on other nations to call them dark horses. They are one of the favorites, and everyone seems to love the Three Lions, which interesting. They have a lot of talent. I will not lie, their talent is overflowing, but depends on how Gareth Southgate deploys them, because with the formations he puts out, it doesn't help them unlock their potential, which is quite sad to see, because this might be the real golden generation when it comes to England winning a World Cup. This is probably their chance, but with the manager that they have, I don't think they have it in them to go all the way.
Very fair. I think there's a lot of fair criticism towards Gareth Southgate. Although he's done really well, I think his picks for this World Cup is quite questionable. So let me just round it off in this chat. I think both of you have made fantastic points. I think for me will be the fact that England, usually the media will hype them up. They're always the world's favorite team to go in because the Premier League, the influence of the Premier League. Unfortunately, I think the hype always kills them. And like what Adit says, this potentially could be their time. It's like their window, right? It's their window to try and achieve World Cup's glory. But there's too many strong countries on, and then Gareth Southgate's picks, it's really puzzling. I always felt that you need to pick players based on their form, not based on their status and their legacy. So like what Joshua said, he stuck to his guns. It could potentially be really good at the end of the day, or it could potentially be him getting kicked out by getting the sack at England. So I don't think they're going to go far. So later you'll see our brackets for the Three Lions. So.
I mean, what's great to see is that he's given players who have been on form a chance, like Ben White, James Maddison, and Callum Wilson, to name just three. I don't see why Conor Gallagher is there. It still baffles me why Calvin Phillips is in the squad. But, I wish them all the best, really. A lot of people will be cheering for them because people do support clubs in the English Premier League. And their players are mainly from there. Actually, all from there except Jude Bellingham, right?
Yes, Jude Bellingham. Yeah, that's the one. And it should have been Tammy Abraham as well, but it's only Jude Bellingham. Yeah. So, Adit, anything more for the Three Lions?
Do you think Gareth Southgate survives if he makes it to the semi-finals? Because it wouldn't be a bad if they make it to semis. It would be pretty good. But what is the criteria for him to survive? That's my only question to anyone out there, to you guys and to people in the comments.
All right. So in the chat, let us know whether Adit's point. Do you think that semis is a fair result for Gareth Southgate to keep his job as the England manager? Joshua, you want to answer that question?
Well, I mean, it depends on the performances as well, I feel. Getting a semi-finals is one thing. That's what kept his job. But, in recent times, like the Euros and all this, Euros, they did well. After the Euros, they had the Nations League where they did not do so well. And then, he's been living up top players like Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's won, everything at Liverpool. So people might say, you have this player who can play so well in a system at Liverpool. Why can't you do it with England? And, I mean... Will he keep his job? It depends on the long-term future they see for the English squad. Will they want to get in someone younger?
Yeah.
Maybe they might try and poach Eddie Howe or something. But we'll see.
All right. So for me, I think that semis, I think he'll keep his job. I think he's done, people, because he, like as I said, he stuck to his guns with selection. And if he does prove the results with minimum semi-finals appearance, I believe he'll stay because his track record looks good. I did England live stream like a month back or a month and a half back, and then I saw his statistics. He's only lagging behind Fabio Capello, and Capello left because of the John Terry incident. And in terms of statistics, he's the second most successful manager in the modern era after during at least up to like 1998 to now. So, if you put all this recency bias away, he's been statistically one of their best managers in the past. So I believe that a semis would keep his job. All right. So before we move on, let's see the comments. So Fachi says, yeah, thanks. Yep. So definitely just contact us and we'll see whether we can do a collab. Said says, let's go Holland. I'm a big fan of Adit, hoping to catch the legend at JBS. So Said Abdullah, another good friend of the show, FPL master himself. He's a big Holland fan. I think he's rooting for Holland to win. Big fan of Adit. Of course, Adit is such a fantastic host, such a fantastic friend and a fantastic guest for the show. Thanks for tuning in and joining. Ashwin says, thank you for the wishes, brothers. Hope to see you all soon. Of course, hope to see you soon, Ashwin. They're not going to bring the trophy home. England, yes, I think that's fair. They gave us hope, but they didn't fulfill it. Yeah, defenders look depressed, especially Maguire. Maguire should be the striker. Very fair assessment. I think you can take over Southgate. I think Patrice, you'll be probably better off. Are you sitting with LCS fans or Dortmund fans? You'll be sitting with. I think we'll be neutral, but most probably with the Dortmund fans. I would assume. So, and then last comment. I think whether he does well or not, he'll go. If he wins it, he should go too. Wow, Sailor fan talk with such a
I actually got
criticism.
a question for Eddie.
Okay.
Will you take him at Sailors if he were to go after the World Cup?
Fantastic. So wait, before we so if Eddie, you're still here, Joshua has put you on the spotlight. So do you think that Gareth Southgate should coach LCS? And before I say move on, Adit as well. Adit watches a bit of Singapore Premier League as well, and he's a Sailors fan as well, right?
Yes.
All right. So Eddie, you see, you've got another sailor. What you call yourself, the crew? You got another crew member here. Adit as well. He watches the LCS, and he supports the LCS. And then Sailor Phantom said no, too boring. He prefers Luka Lalic. Luka Lalic plays an exciting brand of football.
9-4,
9-4,
10-1.
exactly 9-4, 10-1, and then they choke. Oh no, maybe
as
I
long
shouldn't
as
say
you
on
don't
stream.
show up.
Some friendly banter with Eddie. Thanks for the comments. I want someone a bit more front-footed. Yeah, Luka Lalic. But maybe on another day we can bring Eddie on and we can talk about a bit of Sailors, their future players. Sailors. Nah, I don't like Luka Lalic, bro. And then don't get me started. All right. I will get you started on one of the next episodes in the off season with LCS talks with Sailor Fan Talk. All right. So let's move on. Thanks for the comments and the interactions thus far. All right. So let's go to the what should have been the topic? I misspelled it. The German powerhouse. I'm a big supporter of Germany. I think this year they're not going to go far. That's my predictions. And, they're always one of the favorites. Germany and World Cup, that's two things that they're always known for consistent results. At any World Cup, they're always there for consistent results, except for the 2018 one. 2018, it was a bit disastrous. But with that being said, Germany, I think the problem with them is that they've got quite a good young squad, but I think the strike force will be a bit depleted. To me, that they don't have their usual talisman like Miroslav Klose, Mario Gomez in the past. I think now they got to look forward to Müller to lead the line and full crook, is it?
Full crook
as well. And then their defense is a little bit, I don't know, I've got their reservations with the defense with Niklas Süle and Balakocha.
Rudiger
probably. Rudiger in the back four has not really impressed. I don't know, Real Madrid is doing all right, but Chelsea, he had a very tough time in the back four before he rotated to a very efficient back three for them. So Germany, I think I'm a big fan of them, but I don't think they're going to win the World Cup this year. So I'll pass the time to Adit first. So Adit, what do you think of your thoughts of the German powerhouse?
I think they'll do decent. Decent being, I don't think they'll go all the way or to the semi-finals, which could be a bad result. But looking at the other teams, I think a quarterfinal berth would be pretty good. Like you said, with the defense, Rudiger was not very good in a back four, so he might get exposed. And the front line, I feel it's a bit of a bit of disrespect to not back Muller, because whenever it comes to World Cup, Muller really steps up, and every other World Cup he has been doing decent. So I think in my just because he's also come back from injury, so it's a bit of a point to look at. But I think he will step up. Depends on whether Flick gives Musiala a chance, because Musiala has been in tremendous form. But is he too young to bring in at such a huge stage? And will they play Havertz, who hasn't been playing too well, but he can play across the front line? So it's a very interesting team. They have tons of talent, but like we said before, talent doesn't equate to a good result.
All right, so Joshua, what are your thoughts about the German powerhouse?
I don't really rate them too highly.
Oh,
I thought the last Euros they weren't great as well. They crashed out to England.
Nations League as well.
Nations League, they didn't really perform against Hungary. So I think the problem with Germany is the same problem with Spain. They have a wonderful midfield, but they don't have a striker to put it all away, and that might be the cause of their downfall for me. And like you guys mentioned, their defense, not great compared to previous years. They always have very good defense, very good midfield with Michael Ballack and
Bastian
Cruz.
Schweinsteiger, Cruz,
but,
all these players.
Now, of course, you got the strong Bayern core. Gnabry and Sane, I think they're going to have a very good tournament for them if Germany do well. Musiala and Muller as well, but, not for me.
Fair. Very fair. I think with current form, like what you say, Joshua, I think it's easy to write off Germany, and I will believe so. As a German fan, I think it's very fair to make that assumption, and also the fact that before we end this German segment, let's talk about Musiala. I think the young, like what Adit has rightly pointed out, whether Hansi Flick will trust the youngsters to come on, because like what Joshua said as well, they got a good Bayern core, but the Bayern core is actually, they are a bit inexperienced, in the international level. So they've got the likes of Joshua Kimmich, Sane, Gnabry, Musiala, Muller. Muller's their main anchor that they have to rely on, which is what Adit said. Don't overlook Muller, right? He performs in the World Cup all the time.
Goretzka, right?
Goretzka as well. He's been in and out of the team with injuries and whatnot. And so with that being said, German, before I move on, so Germany always had a very strong back four, the likes of Philipp Lahm, in midfield as well, Philipp Lahm, Jerome Boateng, Mats Hummels, Bastian Schweinsteiger, all these, Toni Kroos, perfect German stronghold in the midfield and the defense. Now I see the midfield and the defense, I'm a bit worried for them. So with that being said, let's go into anything you guys want to add before I go to the comments?
No.
All right. Sweet. So Fachi said that they will reach the round of 16. I think he's talking about Germany. I think if they reach the round of 16 and if they fall out in the round of 16, I think that's a disappointment for Germany. Best match would be US Iran. Let's not get into that. Cheers for the comment. Ignatius, our good friend Ignatius said, "Let's go Germany." Our friend don't know why he's talking about Brazil then Germany, but yeah, he's always
sometimes Argentina, sometimes Spain.
Sometimes Arsenal, sometimes Spurs, Man City. You never know with them who is supporting.
Yeah, Ignatius, what are you doing, man? Come on, man. Where's Arsenal fan? Where's the Man U jersey? Get out of here. But just kidding, mate. Just kidding. So Ignatius is full court. Yep, I did mention, potentially could be a big factor for Germany to depend on for the attack force. Ashwin says Muller already 33. That's what I think to reply to Adit, because Adit said don't overlook Thomas Muller, and Ashwin is saying he's old already. And then Ignatius says Germany to be in the finals. Watch this space. The fact that Ignatius said it means they're not going to be in the finals. No, I'm just kidding, Ignatius. Cheers. Thanks for tuning in. Fachi said, let's cut this short. Germany going to get knocked out. Yeah, fair. I think they're not going to win it. Hansi Flick will fling them to the finals. Ignatius with his perfect puns and perfect lines. All right, so let's move on. Yeah. So I think we are done with countries wise, specific countries. Let's go on to a continent. Asian. How are you guys feeling about the Asian countries this year? I think we did talk a little bit, right, about the fact that it's held in Qatar. Humidity will be a huge factor against the European teams. I think it will favor the South Americans and the Asians really well. And the Asian teams, they are looking really strong. They have quite a few. Actually, I overlooked when I saw the list. I was like, okay, like the usual Korea, the usual Japan. But then I see the likes of Saudi Arabia. Their form is actually really good.
Iran, Qatar, yeah.
Exactly. So, what are your thoughts about the Asian countries this year? They could. I feel that at least one of the Asian countries will make a deep run. Yeah, deep run. I may not see. You guys may not know the hint, but I think one of the countries may make a deep run. So I'll pass the time to Joshua. What do you think of the Asian countries?
Yeah, technically this World Cup you have 6 Asian teams, because you have Qatar, you have Japan, you have Korea, you have Iran, you have Saudi Arabia, and then you have Australia. Although some might say they are technically not an Asian team. So overall, I would say that Australia haven't been great recently. The last World Cup they actually had really good players still, but this World Cup is a bit of a transition period for them. So their players aren't really doing too well. So I think out of all the Asian teams, they would probably do the worst. Probably, yeah, to me. The team to look out for is definitely, you talk about groups, Japan arguably has the hardest group because they have Spain and Germany inside. So it's going to be tough for them, although I am excited to watch Japan play, definitely. And then you talk about Iran and Saudi Arabia, as well as Qatar even.
Yep.
The reason why they are so overlooked is that people don't really follow the league that their players mostly play in. Yes. Because a lot of their players don't play in Europe as compared to, say, Japan and Korea. So there's that lack of familiarity, which could actually bode well for them because everyone's writing them off. So we'll see what they can do, starting with Qatar tonight.
Yeah, Fair enough. Fair enough. Very good points. Adit, what do you think? What do you think of the Asian countries this year at the World Cup?
They've got some tough groups, I feel. So I think they won't go too far in. They'll do well, and Japan and Qatar will probably be the best out of all of them. Qatar, the player I'm looking for is the left winger Akram Afif. He's fantastic. He's really quick, and I really rate him. I think in 2019 he won the Asian Footballer of the Year, and he's already got 26 goals for Qatar. So, and he's really young, so I'm really looking forward to him. Japan, that midfield of Endo and Kamada, I love those two. Aito on the wing, Kubo. So I'm really looking forward to them. As you guys said, they're in a very tough group. This probably the toughest group for the Asian teams, but they have a good squad, so it depends. But I think the Asian squads won't really go past the round of 16. If they do make it, that's where I see it stop.
All right, fair. So I think for me, hearing Adit's point, because I saw his bracket before going live on this show, I think this point is really, I see your bracket and what you're saying, it resonates with your pick. So, fair, very fair assessment, right? So for me, I think that, again, I think the humility, like what we both, all three have pointed out, it will favor the Asian team. So if they really want to make a deep run, this is their best chance, they're really their best chance. And I'm sporting the 2022 Japan World Cup jersey, which is a banger from Adidas. However, I think to Joshua's point is very true. The fact that they are in a group of death, for them, it's going to be very difficult. They have to stun and kick out Germany or Spain, right? I mean, no offense to Costa Rica. I think maybe that's maybe Costa Rica can help Japan. If Costa Rica can get a result from Spain or Germany, then Japan has all the chance to do it. Yeah. So with that being said, I think that this year it's definitely the Asian countries' best chance to qualify deep into the stages. And I won't talk too much more about this because we're going to talk through our brackets and then we will see whether we have our Asian countries going deep into the run. Which stay tuned because you're going to be in for a deep surprise here. All right. So fast comments before we move on. Sailor Fantalk has said that, I think he's talking about Japan because he said that, sorry, I think I need to go up. Yeah. So Sailor Fantalk says that as a half Japanese, I got to go with Japan. Wow. I didn't know you're half Japanese. Didn't know that, Eddie. Sorry about that. Cool. So, but I'm not sure that they can trouble the last 8. Yeah. Fair assessment. Maybe Joshua will argue with that with you, but you see, you stay tuned. So, Sai said, excited to see Japan win Spain. That's exactly what I think we are quite confident. Spain, we'll go through our thoughts about Spain later on in the bracket. Fatri says Japan will go to quarterfinals. Fair. I think that's very fair. Sailor fans, remember when they came so close to knocking Belgium out? I think, that was a good moment for Japan. So I never felt confident watching the game that they could keep out Belgium. And that was, like what Adi said just now, all this golden generation. Everyone pecks Belgium to be the golden generation, and they really underperformed in the past two, past 2 World Cups and also the Euros. Let's see, South Korea reached round of 16. Okay. Saudi, same as okay. Wow. So Fatris is a big Asian. He's going very big on the Asian countries. Fun fact: Australia is the ASEAN Football Federation. Yep. Cool fun fact for all new viewers and for us as well. Too bad they don't play in the Emmy Cup. Which, I think if they play in the Suzuki Cup, and I think it's going to be very boring in the Asian, for us to watch. Iran will win the group stage and advance to round 16. Wow, Iran. Okay, thanks, Fatris, for your very, very hot pick there. My bracket ended up with Belgium defeating Japan in the round of 16. Okay, fair. All right, so let's move on. So let's see now. I maybe don't really want to talk about dark horses. Yeah, I think dark horses we kind of covered in the earlier part of the show. So if you guys missed it, please just tune in earlier on. Let's go to players to watch. Players to watch. I think before we talk about our next point, let's go into players to watch. So players to watch. Let's see now. Maybe you can guys give 1 or 2 players to look out for this World Cup. So for me, I think I'm going for this player because if you guys see my bracket later, you understand why I'm going for this player, and it's Rafael Leao. I think Rafael Leao is his time to shine because he's got 2 good seasons with Milan now. People have been saying he's still growing, he's still a young talent. But if you watch AC Milan game right now, right, Rafael Leao has been instrumental in their attack. Winning the Scudetto last year, and this year with Giroud leading the line, Rafael Leao has been a perfect complement partner in the wing for him. So do look out for Rafael Leao for Portugal. So that's my biggest player to watch out for. So I'll probably pass the time to Adit. So who are some of the players? Maybe 1, maybe 2. Just give us your thoughts about players to watch out for this Qatar World Cup.
Like I said before, Akram Afif from Qatar, I feel he'll have a very good World Cup. Might not make it like how all the other big players like Rafael Leao might do as well. But we'll see. I hope he does well. I have high hopes on him, and I think it's surprising that everyone forgets Vinicius Junior. Everyone's talking about Musiala, Jude Bellingham, but everyone forgets Vinny. I feel Vinny is that underrated player, even though he's one of the best wingers in the world right now. No one talks about him being one of the better players in this World Cup, which is surprising to me at least. So I think Vinny is going to be the player to watch.
Fair. Joshua, your thoughts?
Okay, actually, I was going to say Vinicius Junior as well because, he's responsible for one of my saddest moments in my footballing life when I was sitting at
The Stade de France, right?
the Stade de France in Paris, and I saw him tuck away the winning goal of last season's Champions League. So, like you point out, he's been instrumental in Real Madrid, and I think he's going to have a breakthrough World Cup. There's always one of these players, but, a player that I feel that a lot of people are overlooking because of how much he's been in the scene, but, hasn't really shone on the international stage is Phil Foden.
Oh, yes.
I think he's been very, very instrumental for Man City in previous seasons in their, in their march to their title. But, for England, it's always been Sterling, Kane, these two. I think Foden's going to have a big World Cup. And, if England do go far, I think it's going to be a big reason for that.
Very fair. I totally lapsed. I think both of you have fantastic picks. I think Vinicius Junior has always been like in the back of people's mind. Like, I think people assume that he's like very a star at Real Madrid already. So it's like maybe people give him. It's not like a rising star. Don't forget he's still a really young player. And potentially could. He's really definitely like Ronaldo's replacement, right? So in the Real Madrid lineup, I would say. Would it be fair to say that? I don't know. Yeah, I'm a Barca fan, so maybe I'm a bit whatever. So anyway, let's go. And then also Joshua's point, about the fact that players to watch. Phil Foden has been fantastic for City the past 2 years, and he's not shown. I guess he has played well under Southgate. Right? It's just that maybe you're not. Could potentially this year could be the time where England needs to rely on him. Not so much carrying. Kane needs to carry England on his back, right?
Yeah, Sterling hasn't been great for Chelsea.
Yeah.
Southgate has always been reliant for that Sterling-Kane combo, but, it could be very well a Foden-Kane combo that will lead them to the World Cup.
Yeah, fair. So I'm getting some slack for my comment. If you guys go to see the chat. Anyway, okay, so let's go with the comments. Let's see, where do I stop off? Adit, you want to say anything before we move on to the next segment?
Nothing else.
Nothing. All right, cheers. All right. So Fatri said that players to look out for Bruno Fernandes and Son. I think Bruno Fernandes, all right, could potentially Portugal. Sailor Fan Talk said my man KDB. I think he will drag Belgium far. And the inside joke in our chat, right, Eddie, is that to me KDB's back is really broken. I don't think he can carry Belgium very far already. That's my opinion. But he's a fantastic player. Top 5 player in the world when he's on his game. I agree with Adit. The Qatar player is on form. Fantastic. Yeah, I think Adit made the good point about the Qatar winger, right? That you're looking forward to watching him to play and, potentially be a breakout star. Vinicius Junior odds for top scorer is $30. Okay. Potentially, you can put in your money, get the bets in. Vini is a very underrated player. He will be a key goal scorer for Brazil. Yeah. Everyone's underlooking him. Because he got likes of Neymar, Richarlison at the front, was considering Vini, fair, Ashwin. Link-up play is part of teamwork. Yes, very true. Jude Bellingham. Yeah, Jude Bellingham could be, I think now with the fact that his contract is running out with Dortmund, potentially that this could be his time to, audition for the big clubs. Potentially to Liverpool, potentially to United, potentially to Arsenal, but probably goes to Real Madrid.
Very fair, very fair.
Very fair? Yeah, I think it's...
Out of the first 3 you listed, it's quite an easy choice, but once Real Madrid comes in, it's always a tough one for players to decide.
Very true.
Yeah, very. I think you're talking about United, right? Not Liverpool. That's for sure.
Of course. Everyone wants to go and play with a great influencer like Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Perhaps can learn some tips on joining Piers Morgan for interviews and whatnot.
Fantastic. Maybe Piers Morgan can give you a bigger contract with the team. He can be your agent, yeah. So Said says going for old gun, KDB carrying Belgium. Again, wow. So Sailor Fan Talk, Eddie and Said, going with both the same picks with KDB being their players to watch. I think he'll have a fantastic World Cup, but Belgium has always disappointed in the past 3-4 tournaments, and I still cannot put faith in Belgium. Although Belgium's defense has been getting stronger with the Leicester City pairing, right? Castagne and Faes.
Yeah. They still have Munir. So the wing backs actually look pretty strong, but you can't compare the centre backs to what they had in the past when they had company with Vertonghen, Alderweireld, and
Vermaelen.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see now. Fatri said he would, but England not going to do justice for his skills. So Jude Bellingham. Okay, fair. KDB's back is already broken. Max, he'll bring Rohit. That's exactly why we want you here, because we good minds think alike. You're the mastermind, in our chat, and then we believe that KDB's back is already broken. But thanks for the comments, guys. We really appreciate it. So now let's move on. I think now we can. Adit, anything from you? Sorry.
Nothing else.
Nothing. All right, fantastic. So I think let's see now. We've got 55. Okay, so let's go into what we are here for today, which is our brackets. Yeah. So let's put in. Let me share the screen. Hold on. Yeah. So let me share the screen. Okay. I hope you guys can see this clearly. Sorry for no suspense. Right. So it was a bit of a. I won't say last minute, but it was a bit of a struggle to kind of get the picks right and everything, like the format. So here is our. Let's start off with Adit's first, right? So Adit's picks. Yeah. You want to go through the stream? What so far, any big surprise in the group stages? Why do you believe that? Maybe you can just go through with us. Why do you believe the top, why you believe that your winner of the group is going to finish top in their respective groups?
I think, as we talked before, in that group of Netherlands, it's just like Netherlands are class above, and with the striker force that they have, Bergwijn, I know everyone might find him a bit overrated, but I think he's been performing pretty well. And me and Joshua have talked about Janssen, Wood Weghorst, and Gakpo, who's in insane form. So I think that strike force will really take them far. The only problem is now I just read that Dumfries might be a doubt, so this could potentially be a bit catastrophic. So yeah,
like, potentially. All right. So okay. So this I guess maybe you guys can see on the stream right now. Adit's I would say Adit's groups his choices are pretty straightforward. I would say I think the favorites you guys can see very safe picks. However, right, let me go to the next slide. Right, let's see Adit's I would say like spicy pick. Yeah. So Adit's spicy picks will be Group F, which is he's saying that the finalists of the 2018 World Cup is going to get knocked out by Morocco and Belgium. So this is quite spicy from Adit. So please share with us your thoughts. Why do you think Morocco and Belgium will make it alive out of Group F and Croatia will be suffering, getting knocked out?
I think it's also because Croatia's team, if you look at the front line, they have Perisic, but I don't see a lot of goals coming from Palisic, and they don't have a known out and out number 9 like they used to have with Mandzukic. Now they'll have Kramaric, which I don't. That front line doesn't inspire tons of goals. Their midfield, like Spain, will be the core. If any goals come, it'll come from that midfield. I don't see that many goals coming from that front line. The problem with Croatia is Brozovic is injured, and Brozovic is a very important part of that midfield. And I don't the replacements that he has, I have to admit I am not very well versed with them, but I watch enough football to know that if they perform well, I would have seen their name. So I'm a bit unsure without that CDM like Brozovic, who's absolute class. That might be a bit of a problem for them. Then Morocco, I think that will be the big shock for everyone.
Spicy. Yep.
I think that they have a very good defense and the midfield is pretty good. They also have Boufal, who used to play for Southampton. He used to be pretty wasteful, but now I think slowly he's improved his finishing, his creativity is improved tremendously. Ziyech depends on whether he hits the form. If you see recently, I think me and you were talking about this, Brandon, Ziyech's goal from halfway line. So I hope that's a good sign for them, for him to start performing. Then the fullbacks of Mazrui, who plays for Bayern, Hakimi plays for PSG. We all know he's a fantastic talent. Aguad, who plays for West Ham, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
So, and in this year, in 2022, they played 13 games, 6 clean sheets, 8 wins. So I think people just overlook them just because it's Croatia, big nation. But yeah, I think this group is actually, I feel I'm doing a disservice to Canada because they are a very solid team. Actually, this is a group that anything can happen. Canada, I just think the other 3 teams have better quality than Canada, but this group is very like spicy. But I think Morocco might just just beat them. There might be a shock result from Canada against Croatia because Canada has been pretty good in the qualifying, and they have Jonathan David up front, Alfonso Davies, then two players from Club Rouge called Buchanan and Laren Lalen. They're
Yep.
pretty decent youngsters. So I think just because of slip ups here and there, Morocco might just go through just because of that.
Very fair. Let me address Adit's first. Yeah. So your points right there, sir, right, has made me question whether Croatia is really going to qualify. I think you've pointed out fantastic points. Like Morocco's form coming into the World Cup, people overlooking them because we are used to, as general football fans, we are used to seeing the European powerhouses, right? So Morocco could really slip in and with good players. I didn't know that Buffal is having a good run of form at Angers, the French club. He's improved. I remember him being a kind of a flop in Southampton, and now he's coming back alive. Ziyech, before he moved to Chelsea, he was one of the biggest talents before he moved to Chelsea and struggling to find form. But if he does find his form, he's a top player. So, Joshua, what do you think of Adit's spicy pick here?
I remember, hyping Morocco up as well, like before the AFCON and they didn't really do so well. In the end, they do have good players. I know they have a couple players play for Sevilla as well, right? El Nasri is also...
El Nasri, that's striker, yeah.
So, I mean, they do have quality players like you rightly mentioned out, but I do think Croatia have that bit more experience of showing up at the big occasion. So that's why, you'll see it later. I'm leaning towards Croatia, but I think Adit, very fair point. You talk about Canada as well. Actually, if my memory serves me right, I think they were the first team from North America to qualify for the World Cup. So that's actually how good they are. People talk about how Mexico have always been, North American powerhouses and done well. Talk about USA's talent, but actually Canada were probably the most impressive team from that continent. So definitely one to look out for. And it's their first World Cup. I don't know, first World Cup ever or first World Cup in a long time, but yeah. I'm excited to see them play.
Fantastic. All right, so let's move on. Yeah, so more. I think last before I move on, so it's like Croatia. They have quite a few injury bugs, like what I did rightly mention. Brozovic could be out. He's out, right? Definitely. Yeah. And then the likes of Mandzukic, they really rely on him in the 2018 run, and now he's retired for quite a while already. So strike force wise, Kramaric doesn't really strike fear into your heart, in your opponent's hearts and defenses. All right, so. Before we move on, let's see. We got, it's very interesting because Sailor Fantos said that, wow, I did exactly the same for Group F. I think he's talking about the same predictions. Fantastic. I'm sure because you guys are really, you guys watch so much football. So definitely this is, it's not like an outlandish take. Like we think that Costa Rica is going to win the World Cup. Yeah. So Ziyech will carry Morocco. Yeah, very fair. Very fair. And then by his move to Chelsea, demoted his spirits. Really good words there. Fantastic points. Ajax, he was a real beast, So let's move on to the next slide, which is the group of 16 for Adit. So this is quite self-explanatory. I think I wouldn't want to spend too much time because if you guys, maybe you guys go back to the previous, like, when you rewind it like 5 minutes, you'll see Adit's group stage, and then this will pan out for the round of 16. Yeah, so I think I'll just move on to the next one, which will show his quarterfinals. Then he can address some of the key features and matchups that's coming up. Yeah. Okay, so round of 16, I see for this one, nothing too... there'll be quite a few big games here. I think it's fair. And then let's move on to the quarters for him. Yeah, so I just give it some time for our audience to have a look. And then now we will move on to Adit's quarters. Okay, so this is where it gets a bit spicy. Yeah, so I think Adit's picks is a bit more safe, I would say. I think this is where the dark horses and all the nations that may pull up a surprise is going to get knocked out. Is it very fair for me to say that, Adit?
Yeah, I think so. I think this is where like the proper, really good players will really stand out, and so for me, I think this is a pretty safe way. But I just don't see even the dark horse teams like Serbia, which I think will get through that group over Switzerland, won't make it that far. It'll just be that ceiling that they have. Round of 16 isn't bad for some of the teams that I said would make it through, but just don't have the quality to make it to this quarters.
Very fair. All right. So, Joshua, anything from his quarters? Anything surprising?
Like you said, I think what he had was Spain versus Belgium, right? Was it that?
Yeah, let me go back. Right. Let me go back. Yes, Spain versus Belgium. Absolutely.
So you're
right.
backing Spain to beat Belgium. Honestly, I think I might slightly disagree with that. I think if those two were to face each other, I think actually Belgium would have the edge for me.
Fair.
But other than that, it looks like on paper that's how it's gonna pan out based on the fixtures.
Yeah. Adit, you want to respond to Joshua? Is there anything?
No, I fair enough. The only thing for Belgium, if Lukaku is not fit for those games, that's where I think they lack, because they lack a few goals here and there. Carrasco in good form, Trossard, we all know, FPL legend. So, but Lukaku, when it comes to tournaments, he knows how to turn up. So if he's injured at that stage of the tournament, which I think he would be injured for the whole tournament by then, if it might just get play into Spain's hands, because they'll control the game and they can rip a team apart, just like Belgium with their slow defenders might really struggle with playing against Spain.
Very fair. All right, so let's move on to the semis for Adit. So this is where it gets interesting. Let's see now. So but I will address the comments at the end of the whole semis because I maybe a bit too here and there. All right, so with that being said, let's move on to Adit's semifinals, which is okay. I think these semis are, I would say a lot of people may have quite common, this list, because I think Argentina Brazil semifinals is quite a popular pick. And then also France and defending world champions, you cannot doubt them. And then Portugal. Portugal's a dark horse. You can see Joshua. What's he rapping today? Sorry. Oh no.
Wait, who did England lose to?
Huh?
Was it Portugal?
England. Let's see. England
Yeah.
lost.
Oh, France.
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 That's
Okay.
easy. Yeah, France are gonna, if they do match up, France is gonna.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. So, sorry. With that being said, Adit, anything to respond to your semi-final picks?
I think that Brazil versus Germany game from the quarterfinals will be that 7-1 revenge. This year I think Brazil should have it. The quality that they have, they should get past Germany. And when it comes to semi-finals, I think we talked about it earlier. Brazil just have depth and they have quality and depth too. So I think that will help Brazil massively to beat Argentina. And France, I know the curse of defending champions struggling and going out in the group stage, that also might play against my theory here. But I think France just full of quality, and hopefully some of the less fit players would have come back to full fitness by then and like step up, like Varane. Hopefully he gets his form back. He's been struggling, but hopefully with Saliba and everyone, they'll be proper team. I just don't think Portugal have it by then. France are just a different monster.
Fair. So with what you're saying, we'll move on to. I'm so sorry that I spoiled it. I accidentally
No
clicked for the
worries.
finals. Yeah. So before I move to the finals, can I just mention? I see there's quite a few of you watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the video and to our channel, and also go and do check out Adit's Twitch and his Twitter and his social medias. Fantastic streamer. He's a good friend of ours. Always talk about football as well. So basically we're just having the usual group session of every day live streaming to you guys, right? So hope you guys enjoy the content. So let's move on to the finals, which is Brazil and France. So don't want to waste too much time here. Adit, take it away. Who do you think is going to win the finals in your bracket?
Brazil. It just has to be Brazil. Mbappe can carry France, but how long? Neymar has so many other, like Vini, Rodrigo, Rafinha, everyone. The goals in that team. France, it just comes down to 2 or 3 players max. So I think Brazil, with the quality that they have, will win this World Cup. They're favorites for a reason. So
fantastic. So Joshua, anything to point out for Adit?
I think on paper it's a very, very fair pick. You look at the odds all around the world, Argentina and Brazil are favorites, and you had them in the semi. So if you could only pick one, you pick Brazil. I think that's fair, given that you rightly mentioned the squad they have, the amount of, maybe you could say even match winners, perhaps. Like Vinicius Junior, he won the Champions League final for Real Madrid. But yeah, I mean, let's see, because when I think of Brazil, it's always whether they can do it on the big occasion. Like you see them, walking the group stages of the South American qualifying, but when it came to the Copa America final, they lost to Argentina.
Yeah.
When it comes to the big games, they tend to not do so well. You saw it against Germany, that famous game, right?
Yep.
So it's whether they can do it. And even the last World Cup, they lost to Belgium. Am I correct? Is it Belgium that they lost?
Yep.
Yeah,
They did.
it's Belgium. So it's always, the favorite stack tends to weigh against them a little bit. Of course, you talk about the newer players coming up. Like you have Bruno Guimaraes, who has been fantastic for Newcastle. Paqueta, who's, moved to West Ham. And then all these exciting wingers coming up. But it's just whether they can get over this hurdle. And then, if they do face France, it'll be interesting to see Mbappe running at Dani Alves or
That's my
Danilo.
fear. That's my
That
fear.
might be a concern as well, because when it comes to these big games, all it takes is one moment to win it. You can have the best players, but if you have that star man Mbappe just dribble past
That moment of brilliance, right?
Danilo, whoever, just slot it in, and they can see out the game potentially. But yeah, I mean, very fair pick, I would say.
Very, very fair pick. So before I move on to, I think next one is going to be myself, my bracket, right? I think Adit's picks are really safe, and I think it's really fair. It's a fair picks. I think it's with a lot of theory and a lot of analysis, right? I believe that Adit's bracket is actually looking really good. I see his picks. I don't like go like, oh, that is like a terrible game or matchup. I think that it's very reasonable picks from Adit. And yeah, Brazil, I think that before I move on to my bracket, I just want to say that to your both of your points, right? I think that Brazil is all, I think it has got they got to get over that hurdle of that pressure of being, they are the 5 times World Cup winners, right? So people are going to gun them down, right? They're gonna they have a bullseyes on their head, and everyone's gonna expect a very tough matchup against Brazil, and they're gonna go all guns blazing against a country like Brazil. So, hopefully they can get over that mentality because they have a stacked squad this year.
I mean, if you look at the signs, you saw Hao Kang do it yesterday, get over that hurdle, win the silver.
Exactly.
Brazil do that.
Yeah, so, we are comparing Haugang, who has just won the Singapore Cup, to the likes of Brazil with Neymar. So maybe Shawal Anwar could represent play for Manchester City or what. You never know. With his kind of blistering pace, fantastic.
Yeah, but it's always just getting past the hurdle. Brazil, of course, they've done it in the past, 5-time champion, right?
Yeah.
But the last few years, or maybe even the last decade or so, they've been there, but haven't
shown the results. Yeah. Okay, so I see the time right now. I think we are stretching a bit of. I wanted to keep this like a maximum 1 hour 15-minute show, but I think we're going to finish 1.5 hours. So I don't want to spend too much. I apologize. I'm not going to address the comments too often now, but I just going to do a roundup. You guys can see the comments as well. So let's see now. So Fatrice has come in with a lot of comments. I think thanks for all the comments. You're saying that France key player Karim Benzema is out, which is going to be potentially a very huge loss for them. Very huge loss. And then as I said, now there's quite a few people watching. Again, please do subscribe to Adit. He's a fantastic friend of the show. Please do show him some love and support. I'll just address the last point, which is nice one, Adit, for the final of the World Cup. My bracket also have Brazil versus France. Brazil to win the World Cup. Fantastic. So Marcus and Adit is having the same picks for the finals. So
he might be a Liverpool supporter, but I back him for this.
All right, man. So a United and a Liverpool supporter, coming hand to hand, because the World Cup picks, the biggest tournament in the world. From what I'm not wrong, to digress a bit before I move to my teams, the fact that the World Cup, I think the last World Cup final there was 3 billion people watching it. It's crazy. So it goes to show the kind of support you have worldwide. Okay, so don't want to waste too much time now. Let's go to my bracket. So the group stages, I won't say it's too spicy. So just a fun fact, I did a World Cup prediction with Football Ferreira, one of our good friends, like a month ago. I've adjusted the picks a bit. However, the winner has still not changed for me, and you guys will be surprised of the winner, I will imagine, before I move on. So stay tuned for that. So I think the biggest surprise for me, so I just tune in here, for 3-5 seconds for you to go and have a look. Nothing special. I think still quite standard picks here for me. But let's see. The spicy pick for me, which will be Japan to qualify out of Group E. The reason why I'm rapping a Japanese kid today, because I want to go all out for Japan. I think Japan deserves the recognition and the kind of hype that they're getting. But I don't really want to talk too much about Japan for me, because of the fact that I'll leave it for Joshua. Right? Joshua is gonna, stay tuned for Joshua's pick. I think he'll do a better job in representing Japan. Right. So before I move on to my my round of 16, is there anything you guys want to say about picks?
Yeah, I think not too bad. I mean, I did see some interesting things like Denmark ahead of France, and then Croatia ahead of Belgium, which is interesting after hearing what Adit said about Croatia not qualifying and Morocco being second, So I think that those two stood out. The rest seem quite okay. Standard. I mean, of course, besides this, which, I tend to agree with. I think this is what I put too. We'll see it later. I think this is what I put too.
Yeah. All right. So Adit, anything for me?
It's like Joshua said, that Croatia, that for me, obviously since I don't have Croatia making it interesting. Denmark, I know everyone is the second favorite team for this tournament and they're dark horse. So it's interesting, but I understand why people choose that and why you chose Denmark to be a qualifier.
Yeah. All right. So before I move on, I just want to say Spain's going to get knocked out. I believe. I don't have faith. I know they had a good form in Nations League, but I think the lack of a striker is going to haunt them quite badly here. I believe that Japan is going to be a real underdog here, and they're going to take a good result against Spain and against Costa Rica. So I believe that they're going to qualify out of Group E. Okay, so let's move on to, and then I see a funny comment. Fachi say, imagine Japan takes Kyoga Nakamura. Can Japan not take Kyoga Nakamura because Singapore wants him and Singapore needs him desperately because we need him to show up on midfield? All right. So with that being said, round of 16. Round of 16, nothing too spicy. Nothing too spicy. I've got Croatia versus Japan though. So that's going to be a very interesting lineup for me, matchup for me. Yeah. So any comments? Any comments?
I mean, it does look a lot easier than Adit's one.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of interesting matchups, like smaller nations who go through, like
yes,
so-called smaller nations. I would say Denmark, Poland. You know, either one of them going through the quarters would be great. Croatia, Japan as well. Yeah, the rest, okay, pretty big teams. Like you see Argentina facing France, Netherlands, okay, pretty easy tie against the USA.
All right.
Yeah, but yeah, England, Senegal. Okay. Yeah. Interesting picks.
So before I give the time to Adit, my initial one was I was going for Senegal to top their group. So it would have been an England, Netherlands, and it would be a fantastic lineup. But because of money being out, I knocked them down one layer, and it's going to be an England, Senegal, which I believe England will qualify out. Adit, anything for my picks?
I know I put Portugal to go past Serbia, but as you had shown me, Serbia has beaten Portugal. So it's a very interesting. I feel that's a matchup that both of us haven't really looked at completely, but for me that might be one of the better round of 16 games.
Yeah, fair. All right, so let's move to my quarters, which will be. Oh, here we go. So we've got Netherlands, Argentina, Germany, Brazil, England, Denmark, Japan, Portugal. So if you guys have been here comparing Adit's and mine, is completely different, right? Because I've got quite a few differences in the group stages. So that's why, for me, I think that the right side of the bracket, sorry for saying left and right side, but to me, in my mind, the right side of the bracket, which you'll see England, Denmark, Japan, Portugal, I think that the right side will be very favorable for a dark horse to make a deep run in the fight. Yeah, so that's my picks. Anything before I move on?
Yeah, I tend to agree that the other side of the bracket is much easier. So if England can top the group and it pans out this way, I mean, they have a very, very good chance of making the semis. You know, we talk about semis, Southgate.
Yep.
It looks pretty likely, I would say.
Yep. All right. So Adit, anything for me?
Honestly, that right side looks so easy. It looks like Croatia making it. It's literally like Croatia 2018 going deep. It's an easy draw, but it never in World Cups you never know what happens. The weirdest things happen. So
Exactly. Because I always believe that ever since 2018, it kind of favored me to believe that one side of the bracket will always be definitely easier than the others. And I think this year is going to be a repeat of that. I think the right side of the bracket will be way easier than the left side. I think the left side is going to be very unfortunate because there'll be a lot of big nations that will be kicked out, not because of their lack of talent and the lack of ability and form, but it's just unfortunate that they're going up against an even stronger opponent. Very sad to see that. All right, so let's move to my semis. My semis would be the usual Argentina, Brazil, and I think England's going to get knocked out by Denmark. Denmark is one of my biggest dark horses. Serbia, Denmark, those two are my biggest dark horses, and under the radar teams to look out for, and Portugal. So I think the England one, does it really surprise you that I'm going to get knocked out in the quarters?
I mean, not really, because Denmark did make it to the Euro semis and they were very, very impressive.
Yeah.
Even in qualifying, they were in France's group, I think, and they had an excellent run as well. So they do have very good players. They've been performing really well. So it won't really surprise me, even though at the Euros, England did have the edge over Denmark.
Yes, very fair. Did anything for me?
I just feel it's so unfair. You're wearing a Japan jersey and you think Japan lose that game. How is that being a proper fan? Look at me, Brazil, hoping Brazil makes it all the way. So interesting.
So you see what I see about Portugal.
I think, I think to Adi's point, right? If you wait till you see Joshua's pick, maybe you'll be swapping jerseys. You never know, because I think it will be more favorable for both our brackets, right? If you're talking about supporting your team, wearing your jersey. All right, so let's move to my finals. I believe it will be Messi versus Ronaldo in the greatest of all time, the GOAT conversation right now, right? Argentina versus Portugal, CR7 versus Lionel Messi to win it all, right? I think both generational talents have not definitely doesn't have a World Cup into their resume. Either or, if they win it, I think they can solidify themselves as the greatest of all time easily, right? So, do you want to say anything before I review my winner?
I mean, everyone talks about Portugal's squad. I do agree they have a very good squad, but even at the Euros, they weren't great.
Yeah,
I
bit
don't really
disappointing.
rate this manager that well. So the amount of good Portuguese managers there are out there, I think he's very fortunate to have kept his job this long.
Yep, fair. So, Adi, anything? Well, I'll move on to my winner. So my
You
winner
can move
for
on to your winner.
all right. So my winner for the 2022 World Cup is I need to swap the jersey with Cashco Joshua because it's going to be Portugal for me. I
Wow.
think Portugal is going to win it. I think a lot of people not have Portugal making it this far. I think a lot of people peg them to be like quarterfinals. I think that would be fair for them. But I believe that it's a cup competition any day can be your day, right? So I believe that Portugal can take it all the way. Initially, right, I wanted to put Argentina, right? So sorry. So if you guys have been following, I did this bracket about a month ago. Nothing much has changed. Portugal was still my winner 1 month ago. However, with this CR7 debate, and then now, a debacle that's going on right now, a lot of negativity in the Portugal camp, right? I wanted to actually put Argentina beating Portugal, but I stick to my guns as always. It may not be always good to stick to your guns. Brendan Gunn there, no pun intended, but yeah. So, not good to stick to your guns, but I think that Portugal can make a deep run, and I believe that Sui. Exactly, Sui, right? Sui. All right. So, what are your thoughts about me picking Portugal to win?
Yeah, I mean, that's if Ronaldo can stay on the pitch more than 89 minutes. He may head down early for early shower again. But jokes aside, I'm a fan of Portugal. I'll definitely be a bigger fan if Jota was there. Because I'm a huge Diogo Jota fan. He's a big miss for Portugal. And another player who has been on great form for Benfica this year is Rafa Silva. But it turns out he's retired from international football. So I think these two players are big losses to them. You talk about Rafael Leao, maybe a big tournament for him up here, but I talk about the manager, talk about the Euros performance. It doesn't inspire confidence for me. So I do think they're going to get knocked out earlier than this. But, it could be a dream ending for Ronaldo, and maybe, someone might offer him a 600,000 a week contract after this.
To Lion City Sailors?
Very unlikely.
Very unlikely.
I mean, I heard he wants Champions League football, but will Sailors qualify for the Asian Champions League? I don't think they have to play a qualifier as well. I mean, if they secure that, maybe Ronaldo might be interested.
Yeah, you never know. All right, Adit, what's your thoughts about my very weird Portugal pick right now?
See, with Ronaldo, right now he has a point to prove to sell himself to a big club, because since he wants Champions League, he can't just be, I am Ronaldo, you can choose me. He has to really put up a proper performance like he did versus Spain. He scored a hat trick, scored that free kick, and really saved Portugal that game. So now I think he'll have a decent tournament, point to prove. Nothing to lose, honestly. At this point, he has nothing to lose. He will go all out. So I think Portugal, interesting pick, but I also have them not making it past the semis. So, but I understand why you're backing Portugal here.
Maybe mid-game he'll start fighting with Bruno. Bruno don't want to pass him the ball and all this, and it's like Bruno say, "Hey, you go on this interview, then you talk nonsense about my club."
Yeah.
How like that.
Exactly. So the Ronaldo interview actually kind of really turned me off with Portugal, but I think it's only fair to say that I have to stick to my pick. It's very, I don't want to sound like, a bit fickle-minded. Like, one day I pick Portugal, another day I pick Germany, another day I pick Spain, I don't know, maybe I'm not calling anyone out here, but
I wonder who you're talking about.
So yeah, so fantastic to see Portugal. I think they're going to take it. I do really want Messi to win a World Cup, but I think if Portugal and Argentina were to reach the finals, it reminds me of Portugal with winning the Euros in 2016. I think they're going to play a really boring game, right? But I think that they're going to really edge one out if they do reach a very late, maybe if they do reach the finals. I may be wrong, maybe Brazil and Portugal, in fact, but I think Portugal may still win Brazil. There's a very hot take for me. The reason why I like to say all this is because it's going to be clipped for me to look like an absolute legend, which, like what Sailors Phantom, if you say in the chat, he'll charge me a Hai Di Lao, he'll treat me a Hai Di Lao meal, or I'm going to look like a freaking fool, which I'm going to clip for the goal difference footage for you all to laugh at and to, use me as ammunition, use against me as ammunition, for my picks in the future. So Sui, I believe Sui is going to, and like what Adit said, before I move on, I think this is going to be a good, it's very weird for me to say this word, but it's a good auditioning factor for Ronaldo because he's going to leave United. It seems there's no chances, no point of return, right? So this is a perfect audition for him to possibly go to the Lion City Sailors. So with that being said, let's move on to Joshua's pick.
I have one thing. Like Joshua was talking about the 89-minute thing. That interview was the only 90 minutes Ronaldo has done this whole season. So it's very interesting. Will he really do another 90 minutes anywhere on the pitch this time? We'll see. But fair enough. That joke was pretty funny. To be fair.
Yeah. Just how funny, right? With Piers Morgan, that's his first 90-minute action in this year of football. All right, so now we move on to Joshua's bracket. Let me quickly move because I don't want to spot any fake news that Joshua's with. Okay, so thank you for. So before I move to Joshua, I think I'll let you explain. Yeah, but before I let you explain, I want to thank everyone so far for tuning in. The support has been immense. Thank you so much again. And I just wanted to hype this up because Joshua's picks are going to be really spicy. So stay tuned. Call a friend or two, hear him out, and don't. I mean, you will listen to Joshua's picks, right? And if you guys are new here, welcome, right, to the goal difference. But I have faith in my good friend here because his picks are always absolutely fantastic. FPL, score predictions, Joshua's always bang on, right? So now maybe with his World Cup predictions, it can have a bit more weight into it, right? So let's move to Joshua's bracket for the World Cup.
Honestly, I didn't do a whole lot of research into the squads, into the form. All this is just based on my gut feel and a lot of biasness on who I want to go far. So, I mean, it is quite similar. Actually, I think Group A, like I mentioned earlier, the bottom three can go either way.
Yep.
Anyone can go through. But, when y'all talked about the quarters around 1600, I'm actually now hoping Netherlands finish second. Because I am kind of supporting it. I don't think they have a good team, but this is how I'm going to go. Yep. Maybe I'll talk about the difference. Difference between mine and Adit is probably same as you, Japan to qualify instead of Spain.
Yeah.
But I think what's different also, I'm backing Wales. I know you put Wales fourth.
Wales. What? I'm like, there's the start. We'll probably talk off camera and maybe bring it on to another World Cup stream because it's getting a bit too long. But yeah, Wales.
And same as you, I do think Denmark will pip France to first. But other than that, not that many surprises, I would say, at this point.
All right. Adit, anything for Joshua?
Interesting. And a fun fact, this is Gareth Bale's first World Cup. Imagine he's 5 Champions League. It's his first World Cup. Fair enough, you might get Wales to a decent amount. I just don't think they have it over USA. I could be wrong. He's put USA last. Like Brandon has said that Wales won't be number 2. So interesting to see. But Wales, fair enough. Bale, if the Wales go far, Bale has to put in a performance and a half.
He needs to have a performance of his life, like the 2017 or 2016 Champions League run. He got to make a really deep. Yeah.
Come on, don't write out Joe Allen, Aaron Ramsey, Nico Williams. I'm not even sure if they underscore. Kiefer Moore, who's been in great goal scoring form for Bournemouth together with DS9. But actually, one thing I want to point out is Switzerland. I think too many people are writing them off, myself included. I don't think they are a very, they're a good team and they've done well in recent tournaments, recent qualifying. So I actually do think they might pip Serbia, but I have strong faith in everyone calling the dark horses for this tournament. Yeah,
Serbia is definitely a dark horse. And okay, so before I move on, so I would just say just a fun joke. I probably don't want to. Okay, I'll just say it lah. Group B, very political group. Yeah, so I think everyone's good eyes are tuned in for Group B. I'm just very surprised that you got US fourth, but it can really go either way. For a country like US, is like what Adit said earlier on. He has high hopes for US because they got a really strong squad. Rightly so. They got good players playing in a lot of Gio Reyna, Weston McKennie, Team Rim, all these players playing for top European clubs. However, sometimes when the expectations are too high, you falter as well. So maybe Joshua is going through that line of thought, that US is going to falter.
They haven't done great in their continent as well. So
Yep.
I do think, I got to back my Asian team to just pit them to third. Iran, people talk about Taremi, Asmun up front. It's a very, very good front line.
Yeah. I forgot about US Aronson as well. Aronson, Joshua is very
You
big on
could even say Serginho Dest.
Serginho Dest. Barca, right?
Serginho
Barca right back.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Marcus said my bracket is the same as Joshua for Group A, B, C, and F. Group
So
A, B,
5
C.
out of 8.
5 out of 8. Very fair. All right. So let's move to Joshua's spicy picks. Yeah. So spicy picks, I think this is quite, self-explanatory. Let's see now. Yeah, I think we kind of addressed this. And maybe just, you want to talk a little bit more? There's nothing much to say about this.
Yeah, Wales, they did well in the last Euros. I enjoyed watching them. They can get results. I think what is good about them is they can defend well, maybe hit on the counter attack. All they need is just one Gareth Bale free kick to send the crowd well. But their journey to the World Cup itself was memorable.
Yeah.
And I don't know, as much as you talk about the players that US have, I don't really rate them as a team. But similar to Group A, I think this group, the 3 bottom teams could go either way as well.
Yeah, very fair. All right. So with that being said, anything Adit from you about this? Just now I did talk about like US faltering. Is there maybe a comment you want to say to respond?
See, the thing is, England have never beaten US, so I'm clinging to this fact that this will still continue in 1915, 2010. They haven't beaten USA, so I'm hoping that they'll go through and the young core will really like shine. But Wales are the better team, so fair enough.
Fair. All right, so there's Joshua's spicy pick. Actually, the other spicy pick is Japan as well, but I didn't put it in because I addressed the Japan one, and then you addressed. All right, so we move on to the group, round of 16, which is so it's the first time we're seeing Wales in the round of 16. That's interesting from Joshua. Anything spicy? Nothing much other than that, right? I think quite similar to mine actually.
I think it is. Looking forward to the other half of the group. The left half looks a bit tougher. Of course, a bit easier for Netherlands compared to say Argentina, France, Brazil, Uruguay. But yeah, nothing much to add.
Yep. All right. I did anything for Joshua?
I want to see if Japan can get what do you call it? Revenge against Belgium. This is gonna be interesting. I wonder what's coming next in the quarterfinals.
All right. So to Adi's point, great. You're hyping it really well because Japan do get the result, and I think they're gonna. Joshua thinks they're gonna.
And Serbia beat someone too, is it?
Yes, Serbia beat.
Portugal.
Portugal.
Yep.
Yeah.
You are wearing a Portugal jersey. What nonsense is
That
this?
is the World Cup of the dark horses. And these two, one of them are going to make it to the semis.
Fair.
So
That's me.
yeah. So
you all talked about how Serbia beat Portugal in the qualifying?
Yeah.
Portugal had to play the playoff, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, so Serbia know how to get
Serbia
the better
automatic. Yeah.
of Portugal, and they could do so. For Japan, I think they have the attackers to trouble the aging, not say aging, but renewing Belgium defense. It's not as strong as previously was.
Yes.
Could De Bruyne go up against Yoshida and all, Tomiyasu? and
Exactly.
Get the better of them? No, I
No,
don't think so.
exactly.
I mean, Japan do have a fresher team, I feel. Belgium, do they have the goals? And then we talk about it. Maybe not, especially if Lukaku is out. So I do hope, there's a lot of biasness in this, but I do hope Japan will make it through.
Of course.
And for Portugal, I want them to be out because I want a new coach, to be honest. I do love Portugal. I love their players. But, I feel that this coach has been around too long. They should give one of the younger Portuguese managers a chance. A lot of them are emerging. So hopefully, if they are out in the round of 16, this could be the final straw. For the rest, I think actually it's largely the same as yours.
Yes, the left is exactly the same as mine actually. The left
England,
side.
Denmark as well, was it?
Yes, correct. So it's only Japan and Portugal, to be honest. That's the only difference. Yeah, so for ours. I did anything for Joshua?
Nothing.
There will always be a dark horse to make it to the semi. So this round, either Japan or Serbia.
Yeah. So you see, Joshua's one is the last because we want to hype it up because it's our predictions. So thus far in the quarterfinal, there's only one team different, right? That we are differing, right? And that one team is going to make it to the semi-finals, and that one team is Japan. So
and Netherlands as well.
And Netherlands as well.
And England as well.
Netherlands, yeah.
England was in Adit's, but not yours.
Yeah, so this is where, as I said, so 7 teams just now we were similar in the quarterfinals, and now only one team is for the two of us. It's the constant, right? And for Adit as well, only Brazil, right? For you, and Netherlands also. No,
No, I put Argentina.
All right. So this is where it gets really spicy, right? So it's completely different bracket from I think a lot of people's brackets. Joshua's bracket is a bit, not say under the radar, a bit of an outlier here. Netherlands, Brazil in the semis, and then followed by England versus Japan. What are your thoughts?
I think a lot of people will have Brazil and England. So maybe I'll talk more about Netherlands and Japan. Honestly, these are the two teams that I want to make it there. These are teams that have a bit of affection to it.
Yep.
Teams that I like watching play, you could say. Netherlands, they beat Argentina in the quarters. I had it. Before that, it was Wales, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so Wales, I think, most people expect them to edge it. The Argentina game will be a tough one for them. I will admit, it'll be a very tough one for them. But I do think if they do meet, it'll be a draw. And Netherlands will win on penalties.
So,
Adit, anything for Joshua?
I'm very interested to see this. If it happens, I really want to see it. An Asian team, the semi-finals. Who wouldn't want to see that?
As for Japan and Serbia, I think it could go either way. Yeah, sorry,
Either
I agree. Yeah, you're saying something about no?
I hope Gakpo takes Netherlands to glory. If it goes this way, Gakpo hopefully manufacturing a move to United over Anthony, which I had hoped, but hopefully this will be his.
Well, Adi, to address your point about United and Cody Gakpo, right? I believe that if Cody Gakpo has a fantastic World Cup, which he's primed to do so, right? I think United is going to be out of the race to sign him. I would believe as a United fan, right, you want him to flop so that United can go in with Eric Ten Hag's influence to because people will be like, maybe Cody Gakpo is not ready. Then United can swoop in for like a cheaper deal, right? I think if he does have a big World Cup, right, United they're going to really struggle to sign him. That's my opinion.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, if they see this, they'll think it's going to be a Brazil and England final, which I do think is a common pick. It would be a common pick. I think. Yeah, but talk about Japan, Serbia, either way, and then of course you face England with two very color coordinated legs you have there.
All right, so the next one is going to surprise people. Let's go.
Hey, what? I don't think it's funny at all. I think it's going to be it's possible. You never know. I mean,
that could easily be Serbia, It could easily be Serbia too. So you never know.
Japan's side of the draw was not that tough.
Yeah, exactly. Because we had the similar quarterfinals, right? So the right side of the bracket is actually way easier. So at this point, right, if our picks the bracket runs through, right, the right side bracket, any team can make it to the finals. Very honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think, England, Japan, of course, England strong favorites, but will Southgate get them through Japanese?
Aito is going to score the winner. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Mitoma knows how to get past these English defenders very, very well. So, I mean, yeah, it's like I said at the start, there's a lot of biasness in it because, people are doing the list who you think will win the World Cup. I do think Netherlands have a good chance of winning the World Cup.
Yeah.
But Japan is a team that
to look out for.
I want to go far. And there's some bias, a lot of biasness in this.
Yeah.
And I really do hope Japan will make it. I mean, I do think that they'll make it to at least the quarters and semis. It'll take a bit of luck to get them through England.
Very.
I mean, Serbia, that one, okay, I address that, can go either way. But England, maybe an off day for England. And then, a wonderful performance from Japan, but what I'm hoping. But okay, Netherlands is I have a bit more stronger justification. I do think that, they have a team.
Yeah.
Like not just individuals. On paper, you could say, okay, some of their players are aging, Pasveer, Daley Blind at left wing back.
Yeah.
But you look at their form under Wenger and what they've done in the Nations League as well. And then you talk about cores, you talk about Germany's Bayern core. I think Netherlands have a fantastic
Ajax core.
And then, look at the back. You have Van Dijk, you have Ake, who's, like I said previously in the show, a very good left centre back.
Yep.
And then Timber coming up. You have a lot of interesting young players coming up, like Kenneth Taylor as well. Yep. And then you look at front three. Honestly, when it comes to cup competitions, you don't need the best attack. You just need an attack who can win you games.
Yes.
And they have the counter attack to do so. So you have Gakpo, you have Bergwijn, you have Depay, who I think can trouble any team on their day. Imagine these players going up against Danilo, Alex Telles, Alexandro, and Daniel West.
Spicy. Yeah.
You just be running past them like how Lestienne runs past all the S-League defenders. The same thing. They could do it. Adit is a big Lestienne fan. Very disappointed he didn't make the Belgium squad.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then if they need a goal, they have 3 goal scorers off the bench who they can bring on.
Yep.
They have De Jong, they have Weghorst, they have Vincent Janssen. 3 big strikers. All you need is a spot-on
cross.
delivery.
Yeah.
Put it on their head, they're gonna get you a winning goal.
So Joshua's inside joke is that they have the 3 MBS towers up front, yeah?
The 3 MBS stars, man, you're chasing and you put all 3 of them on. They get the equalizer. You go to penalties. They all can take penalties. It may seem like a joke, but I don't think Netherlands can win it.
No, I sorry, before I pass the time to Adit, right? I do your points about Netherlands is spot on. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing flawed about it, right? They have good form. They've got a good core chemistry. We always talk about chemistry, right? Talent, like what Adit has rightly pointed out in the whole stream. Talent doesn't naturally equates to success. You need to have the right chemistry, the right form, the right luck also, right? And like what you said, they have big, tall strikers at the front that can chase the game. And then they've also got very pacey strikers to start the game and give a lot of issues to the likes of even Brazil because of what we mentioned, the Brazil fullbacks. Yeah. So, Adit, what do you think of? Okay, so maybe before I pass the time to Adit, let's just see. I think quite obvious who's going to be the winner with how we are hyping it up, right? So, Joshua believes that Netherlands is going to win. So before you talk about your Netherlands pick, let's talk about let's go to Adit and what do you think of Joshua's finals between Netherlands and Japan?
I think it'll be a close match. Just Netherlands are a very strong team. And by then, I think injuries will take its toll on both teams. Depay struggling with injuries, Dumfries being a doubt, Martin Dirun also being injured. But they have youngsters who can really step up, like Frimpong. And then our 3 MBS towers to come on. You never know. Just one cross is all it really takes. And actually, this is the first World Cup for VVD. It might be he either shines or he just crashes and burns. We'll see.
Yeah.
And if you really think about it, Netherlands, when they were qualifying, they've been on a 15-game unbeaten run, and they got through a group with Belgium, Poland, and Wales, and they still came out top. You'd expect them to, fair enough, but Netherlands do have quality to make it far. How far it remains to be seen. I didn't back Netherlands to make it this far, but if it comes down to Netherlands versus Japan, I think Netherlands will just be too strong for Japan.
Very fair, very fair. All right, so let's address some comments. Actually, you want to talk about Netherlands? I think you kind of addressed it.
I did talk a lot, but maybe I could say now that I see how it all really depends on, I do hope they finish second in the group actually, so they will be on the other side and perhaps a potentially easier run. But big fan of the country, big fan of a lot of players that they have. But like Adit said, Dumfries will be a big miss if he is indeed out.
Yeah, Dumfries is a fantastic player for Inter Milan. I think I rate him really highly at Inter Milan. So with that being said, let's go through some of the comments, right? So Sailor Fan Talk Eddie has said that he thought that my bracket was out there. Josh was on, woof. Yeah, I highly agree with that. And then you've got Mr. Ignatius Ng. He said, so how, bros? Iggy with Argentina. Argentina, didn't you say what? I think he did.
Germany, he said Germany just now.
Yeah. This Iggy, I tell you.
I thought it was Spain.
Yeah, exactly. This Iggy Spain, he's jumping on the bandwagon of all these countries. He said winner takes all. We will pursue that offline. All right. So thanks for the comment. Thanks, Iggy. Fatris agrees with you with all your facts, with all your points about Netherlands. Highly agreed. So Fatri said, but Japan being there in the finals is a surprise. It can actually happen. All right. So with that being said, let's move on to, we're going to go to the outro actually. So before we go to that, let me go back to our faces. Let's put back our beautiful faces. All right, so as you guys can see, Adit's pick was, he thinks that it's going to be a Brazil win.
Yep. Right.
And then after that, for me, I'm going for a Portugal win. And then Joshua is going for a Netherlands win. Right. But I think all three, in terms of the winners, I think mine is the most out there, like not strangers, the most under the radar pick, I would say. Netherlands, I think, is a very fair assumption. I think, like what you say, if Netherlands finish second, that would be perfect for them. Then they can run into the easier bracket.
Yeah, I think Portugal is just going to try and draw their way to the final as usual.
Yeah.
And hopefully edge it. But, Netherlands, tough team to beat. Have some good players from set pieces. Van Dijk as well, a big threat from set pieces. So sometimes tournaments come down to these kind of things.
Yeah. All right. So with that being said, let's. I don't want to spend too much time with the outro. Actually, I had a surprise, but Okay, so if you guys are still here in the comments, just drop a me in the comments chat, right? Just say me, all right? And I will tell you at the end of the show why the me is so significant. You do not want to miss what the me is, so just put me or just say I was here, something like that. Yeah, type it down, Adit, you can type it down as well. Joshua, type it down.
It's all right.
Yeah, all right. So just type it down so that you're still here because we want to see that you guys have tuned in all the way. I want to show my our appreciation that you guys have been here all the way. So yeah, just tune in, say me or whatever. I was here. All right, Sailor Fan Talk. I will remember that.
Patrice
as well. Thanks so much for tuning in. Adit, you want to put it in also? You can put it in. So outro. Maybe I pass the time to Adit first. Maybe you can give your thoughts about how the stream went and how so far do you like the experience being on the goal difference. And again, thank you so much for being here.
I love being on the show, and we've talked about this before, a collab between all three of us. So this was lovely to be here. I love streaming, and I love doing live our predictions as I have already on my channel. So this is a lovely experience, and hoping for more collaborations between the three of us.
Yeah, of course, fantastic. Joshua, what are your outro for that?
Yeah, I mean, looking forward to the World Cup. I'm not actually sure how many matches I'll watch very intently. I might have it on at the side somewhere for most matches, but looking forward to a good tournament. Hopefully, we don't see a boring World Cup. I do think, because of the humidity, you might see a lot of tight matches. But, thanks, Adit, for joining. It was great to have you, and, feel free to join anytime.
Of course, Adit, you're a valuable member of the Goal Difference community. And anytime you want to come on, if we have the live stream, please feel free. You are always welcome to join. All right. So, Sailor Fan Talk said that some of the fans went to opening ceremony, right? Yeah. Okay. So I agree with you. Some of them went to the opening ceremony, but for Sailor Fan Talk, Eddie and Patrice, I think the biggest surprise will be I'm going to do a major giveaway, right? Sorry, the Goal Difference is going to do a major giveaway, yeah, and. I'm going to announce it tomorrow. The Gold Difference is going to announce it tomorrow. But for you guys, right, so it's going to be a jersey giveaway, right? So you guys will hear it first. A World Cup jersey giveaway. And then it's going to be like, it's like a spin the wheel. You get, if you do a certain amount of steps, you get more allocation or more chances to win, right? So for you guys, since you guys have tuned in all the way, right, I'm going to give you all, I think, extra 5 points to win the gifts, right? So let's put it on stream. What's the gifts are, right? I don't want to show the paperback. I don't want to sponsor. It's not sponsored, by the way. The Goal Difference has. So we have a brand new Japan kit here. I don't know if you guys can see it. A potential brand new Japan kit up for grabs. And then we've got. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry to break the silence here, but oh shit, am I showing it on the stream? Oh no. Hold on. And then we've got the next jersey. We've got Germany. A German jersey. All right. World Cup German jersey. And last but not least, we have the biggest prize of them all. Sorry guys for this is a bit awkward, but I didn't plan it that way. We've got Argentina printed Lionel Messi to give away for the Goal Difference, from the Goal Difference to our valued friends and fans and friends of the show. So what this is going to imply, I'm going to post the rules of how you guys can enter this giveaway. But for Patrice and Sailor Fan Talk, right? For Patrice and Sailor Fan Talk, I'm going to give you all extra credit points to win these gifts. Yeah, so I think you guys are going to have a big chance to win these gifts. And we want to thank you for the support that you've given us. And I really appreciate the love and support. And I will give Joshua and is it right to give you to win the prize? I think can.
For me, it's fine. Maybe Adit. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, Adit. I'll give you the extra credits as well. So stand a chance to win. I'll probably clip this for the Goal Difference paid for. So yeah, stand a chance to win this Argentina Lionel Messi printed jersey. Non-sponsored. It's all from our pockets from the Goal Difference. So this is just really appreciation for the friends and family support and the fans out there. So I don't want to go too long already. I think it's been a bit long-winded. Thanks so much everyone for tuning in. It's been a fantastic stream. This is the first time doing a collab stream with another collab partner. Sorry for a bit hiccups here and there. I think we are still learning the tips and tricks, for the live streaming, and I look forward to even more shows with you guys. I think this is gonna be fun. Joshua and I, we love talking about football. I did as well, and I'm sure we're gonna see more familiar faces, more new faces, and also the community. We love the interactions with you guys. Yeah, so thanks so much. We're gonna call the live stream an end. Any closing thoughts from you, Adit?
I just want to say congrats on getting to 200 subscribers. I know Rohit talked about it recently, but
Yeah.
I just need to say lovely content and congratulations. And now it's at 215 subscribers, but really very well done.
Appreciate the love, Adit. Thank you so much. Joshua, you want to close the stream?
Yeah, I mean, if this weekend is anything to go by, we saw a team in orange lifting a trophy yesterday. I think next month we're going to see a team in orange lifting the trophy as well. So yeah, I mean, it's been great. Again, thanks for having us. Thanks for joining, Adit, and yeah, look forward to the next stream.
All right. So the next stream, I think we're probably gonna do like a live match reaction. I won't do a watch along. I think watch alongs, you guys want to watch the game, right? Then we'll probably do like a post match reaction of like one of the bigger games of the group stages. Maybe possibly Japan versus not Japan, maybe Germany versus Spain. Possibly even Japan and Spain as well. Maybe we do a live match reaction. And with that being said, I think we will conclude this show. See you guys at the Dortmund game. Adit, some of our friends also will be there. Like a Sailors Fan Talk will be at Jalan Besar. So we look forward. We're going to do a vlog. Look out for that as well. And with that being said, thank you so much, everyone, for the love and support. I can't stress this enough. I think we're just embarking on a new journey here in this football community. We love to talk to you guys. And with that being said, this is the Goal Difference and Adit signing out. Thank you very much. Like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.